Despite the fact that I went to school for computer science, this is my first PC build ever.
My only PC that wasn't a laptop was created using NZXT's build service when you couldn't otherwise get graphics cards for anywhere near MSRP. Can I prove I have what it takes to build the editing and gaming rig of my dreams? Or will I make a total fool of myself on the internet for your entertainment?
Let's go through all the parts, shall we? First is the Superflower, or Superflower, I guess, LeadX 7 Gold. It's a 1300 watt, which is going to give us plenty of power for everything that we need to put into this PC. Everything in this build is pretty power hungry, and I've got like 17 storage drives. For the motherboard, I found an excuse to get the Sonic themed Z790 PG from ASRock. This motherboard's already a couple years old, and it was relatively inexpensive, and yet it has just about everything I really want out of a motherboard. It supports a PCIe Gen 5 SSD, which is going to be the crux of our build. It also supports DDR5 RAM at a decent speed. And I mean, it's fucking Sonic themed. Come on. For the CPU, we've got an i9 13900K. From what I saw, the 13900K was worth the upgrade over the 700, but the 14th gen just didn't seem to really pack enough punch over the 13th gen for me to justify spending the extra money for it. For the graphics card, we got a 4080 Super, also known as a 4080. This is the Gigabyte Aero. It was the best white model I could find since we're kind of going for a little bit of a white theme. But on top of that, I really trust Gigabyte as a brand, and also it comes with an additional year of warranty, so it was worth the extra $100 or so. I went with the 4080 over the 4090 because I just didn't see the point in spending sometimes 100% more for a graphics card that was going to give maybe 30% more increase. Honestly, I've got a 2080 Ti in my current build, and it's still doing the job. I just need that extra encoding chip on the 40 series, as well as the extra tensor cores and things that are really improving performance in things like DaVinci Resolve and editing programs. The theme of this build really was that I wanted a video editing machine and not just a gaming PC. Now that I've gotten a little bit more experience as a video editor, I realize that you really need certain things that are going to optimize the video editing performance over the gaming performance. For example, I went total overkill in the storage. This is the Crucial T700 Pro. It's a PCIe 5 SSD, which means it's got just insane read and write speeds. And I got the 4 terabyte version. I had video editing in mind when I chose the memory too. I wanted to get DDR5 memory for good speed, but really I was focused on getting a lot of storage because my current machine has 32 gigs and I'm constantly maxing it out while I'm video editing. So this is 2 sticks of 48 gigabytes each, which is going to give me 96. And if I ever want to, I can upgrade up to the motherboard's maximum of 196 gigabytes of memory if I really need it. Finally, to cool the CPU, we're gonna put in a Kraken Elite 360 RGB. I really didn't want to get the most expensive Kraken for this build, but the lower models were actually out of stock, and some of the other ones were just like $50 less. And so I was like, go big or go home, why not? And we'll be packing all these components into an NZXT H7 Flow. I chose this one because I'm still in love with my H7 and my other build that comes in the white and black kind of mixed look rather than flat white or flat black. I guess now comes the time where I can start actually opening these things, and we can get started. Why is this the most difficult box I've ever had to open? All right, well, here's the manual. Don't need that. Tiny screws. I'm gonna put these someplace where I will definitely lose them. Feel like a surgeon pulling somebody's heart out. And here's the son of a bitch itself. Looks pretty. Okay, we're just gonna untie this cable, plug it in, turn it on, and then ground myself. And then we will set up the power supply and all that once all the components are ready to go. Pro tip, you don't actually have to put it on your wrist. You can put it on your ankle if you don't want to be like held down, right? Oh yeah, baby. This motherboard came out like 2 years ago, and I've been looking for an excuse to build a PC just so I could make one with this. It's honestly the entire crux of this build. I was initially thinking I was just going to upgrade my current PC, but then when you upgrade the motherboard, you may as well upgrade everything else. Okay, let's not make the same mistake again. Haha. Oh my god, that's beautiful. This is the coolest motherboard I have ever seen in my fucking life. User manual. Full color. Oh, never mind, it's black and white inside. I almost need like an overhead camera. I don't have a budget for that, but look at that. That is so beautiful. You know, people were complaining about the ring on the side here not being animated. Like they thought it was going to be like an electronic display that was going to play an animation. But I actually think it's really sick that it's this like holographic, whatever you call it, where it changes kind of based on the viewing angle. That's like pure 90s right there. And so it's only fitting that it goes on a Sonic board, right? Take a look at the back. Nice. This is the side that nobody sees, but you know, I'll know. And now you will too. Okay, now comes the part I've only seen on TV. Just gonna line it up with the slots, open up the outermost one for our first one. Slide that in. Oh, nope, I got it wrong way. We're just gonna slightly, gently slide that in there. We should hear it click into place. Cool, nice and thick. And we'll take our second stick and we'll skip a slot and put it in the next slot over. Gently slide it in, then gently press until each lock falls into place. And now our RAM sticks are installed nice and neatly. Next comes installing our SSD, and I am going to actually consult the manual of the motherboard to make sure I'm putting it in the right space for it to take advantage of that PCIe 5 speed. Okay, so it does look like it's going to be this one, so I'm going to remove the heatsink. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to use the fancy Sonic heatsink because this one came in its own heatsink, and I've heard that you're not really supposed to remove the ones with built-in heat sinks. This one with the heat sink was actually cheaper than the one without and had a faster delivery date, so that's why I got it. I'm gonna get my handy dandy screwdriver and see what we can do with this bad boy. Oh, that one just came right out. Oh, and so did that one. All right, sweet. Let's take this bad boy out of its package. I'm gonna leave it in its little plastic enclosure until I'm sure I know what I'm doing. So it looks like we have to remove this screw and place it over here so that then we can place the SSD in this slot going this way. Okay, there's the son of a bitch. I do think I could actually remove it from the heat sink, but I'm not going to. Not worth it today. Fun fact, I'm nearsighted, so I actually have to take my glasses off to see stuff that's up close, because my glasses basically make me farsighted. I actually quite like that this comes with the heatsink because now the board isn't exposed. I don't feel like I'm handling the board. The screws in this motherboard came in individual bags for each individual screw. Who the fuck thought that was the good idea? Wow, this is the tiniest fucking screw I think I've ever seen in my goddamn life. I don't even know if that's a pixel. Let's take the SSD, double check the manual, make sure I am putting this in the right spot. M2_5. And we just slide it in nice and good. Hold it down with one finger, screw it in with the other. And that is an installed SSD. How about that? Okay, now I can't wait any longer. It's time to put it in the CPU. Manual. Went to school for this shit. I know what I'm doing. There it is, the Intel. Okay, now I'm pretty sure I know how to do this. Let's just see. Just consult the manual to make you guys feel better. Again, you guys aren't going to be able to see me do this necessarily, but you're just going to have to trust that I'm doing it right. Down and out. Oh, popped up. Okay. And we pull it back, right? This just pops off. Cover opens. Now we place the CPU in. Oh man. That, I don't even feel like a light should be touching that. That's scary. Okay, but I have to make sure I don't let my hands get sweaty. All right. All right, just going to gently open the CPU now. You know, it's probably worth checking if I'm recording before I do this. Make sure the recording hasn't stopped. CPU's open. Now to gently remove it. Okay, none of the pins are bent. Little socket indicators that tell me which direction to put it in. I figured the text will go up and down. And then I just make sure it's aligned. Boom, and it's in there. Okay. Now for the moment of truth, chat. Okay, that snaps in place, and we pull this. I was expecting that to fly off in a more kind of climactic fashion. However, haha, that's an installed CPU right there. I know what I'm doing, I told you. Okay, we're just gonna set the cover aside. I think water cooling is probably antithetical to a Sonic themed PC. Air coolers just look so barbaric these days, you know? Oh man, we gotta put it together ourselves. These are literally just the NZXT fans you can buy individually, man. Just pack 3 of them in here. Okay, I typically like to install my AIOs on the top shelf. So I think we're gonna get something like this action going. Oh my God, why has it gotta be a fold-out manual? Holy shit. It's a map to fucking buried treasure. Excuse me. Oh, it's front and back. That's just wonderful. Why is this the most complicated process so far? I feel like I should be installing the fans before I should be putting the pump on the motherboard. I feel like that'd be way fucking easier. It's the part you all came for. Oh, that's worth the price of admission. On its side. How does the screen come off? There's no thumb screws like on my case. Do I have to go fish for the fucking case manual in this? God damn you, NZXT. Panel removal. It just has little arrows saying to pull it off. Okay, let's start with the other side first then. Because I don't like messing with the glass, but the steel, that I don't mind mishandling. Really just pull? Oh yeah. No, that just comes right off. Oh, wow, that's actually wildly convenient. Ugh, I really don't like how much force it takes, though. Oh, that's nice and slick. There's like... It'd be fine. PC doesn't need a back plate. So what is this? Is more screws and shit? Oh, yep, it's more screws and shit. Awesome. Okay, let's see if I broke this or if I can just put it back on and pretend like nothing happened. Does it just like pop back into place or like... Hey, oh. Yeah, see? Psh, I didn't break nothing. Y'all were scared and all that. Y'all were so nervous. Y'all had sweaty hands. Okay, now to do it with the glass, though. God, this is so nerve-wracking. Just lift. Well, that's not so bad, I guess. Now to set this somewhere. Not just kidding. I got you though, huh? Oh, it already comes with a fan in the front. That's cool. Only one though. That's not as convenient. So do I have to lift the top up? Oh, I can totally lift the top up. Oh, this makes me nervous. Let's pop out. Oh. Cool. Filter. Nice. So do I install the fans to the radiator and then the radiator or the radiator fans or the fans to the thing and then the radiator to the fans? Oh, this whole fucking bracket comes off. What the fuck? Do I need to take it off, though? I feel like I can leave this son of a bitch on. I really don't want to take off the entire... Well, no, because this is the whole frame. So how the fuck does that come off? This bracket comes off. That's in the front. You guys can't see it because it's in the front. I don't have the front off yet. This is incredibly nerve-wracking. I don't want to do this. Ah. Oh, that's stressful. Okay. Okay, this like front bracket is supposedly able to come off. So I guess it's supposed to go fan, radiator supposed to go here, and then the front. Oh, you can choose. You can literally choose whether you do the fans underneath the radiator or the fans fucking outside the radiator. What's the fucking difference? I don't want the fans. I don't want it to be fan, radiator thing. Because I don't want to be moving hot air through the radiator. I want to be sucking hot air from the radiator. So I want it to be radiator fans mount. So I want indirect mounting. Okay, now the question is, which screws are the screws that screw in the motherboard? What's really going to happen is this is going to be a testament to if I can do it, you can too. Let's see if these screws fit in the motherboard. Oh my God, I got it right the first time. Okay. Moment of truth. Let's see. Okay. Motherboard didn't fall out. How about that? Okay, motherboard's in place. Now, back to this old grind. I bet I'm gonna see Jay's 2 cents video about how this is a wildly suboptimal way to, set up your radiator, but Oh well, this will do for now.
I'm so close to solving this crime, I can almost taste it.
Okay, and installing the pump seems fairly simple, so I think I'm okay with doing it with the case upright. Came pre-installed with thermal paste, so we're not worrying about thermal paste. I'm just gonna remove this backing plate now, or this backing plastic. Okay, this is nerve-wracking. Okay, now that's exposed and ready to go. So I'm gonna set that in. Watch what I'm doing. Opposite corner. I may continue to screw those in to make sure the contact is good, but it doesn't really have any give, so I think that's our cooler installed. And it actually would seem that all we have left to install is the graphics card. And then we can bust open the, well, actually, no, we have to install a power supply, which we'll do last. And then we'll have to start, you know, cable management, which is going to be fun. I'm not crazy this time. This one actually does open on the side. But here we go. Now we get to fold out. Ooh. Ooh. Check this bad boy out. God damn, this thing is massive. I remember seeing the 2080 Ti for the first time and thinking it was just absolutely huge. This is fucking insanely massive. And yet it's surprisingly light for how big it is. I think it's why it's the Aero model. I think they give it a lot of space for a lot of airflow. But I'll be damned, that is an entire computer in itself. Like, what I love about this one too is it's got a little slot for the power cable to go into. So the power cable's not jutting out. I also like the front plate. I like the colors. I thought it would go well with our Sonic board. So these are not thumb screws. That's interesting. I actually have to get the screwdriver out. I really don't even know that I'm going to get to my bottom PCI slot at this rate. That graphics card is going to take up the entire bottom half of this motherboard. And there's that one. Okay, and with those slots open in the back here, now we can put in the graphics card. Sure, my PCIe slot is open. And now we're going to lower it in like Darth Vader's helmet. Psst. I'm a fucking nerd, dude. Oh my God, it went in. All right. Y'all ain't ready for this. Oh, this thing is significantly heavier now, actually. For as light as the graphics card is. Look at that. Ooh. That's nice. I was curious. I was thinking this was going to get in the way, but actually the back of the graphics card sits flush with it. So it worked out just fine. Okay, well, that's all the major components installed. Now it's time to get the power supply in and then start hooking up cables.
Day 2.
I went ahead and called it a night last night, and then before recording, I went ahead and grabbed couple fans out of my old PC to fit into the new one. I also watched a couple videos last night, and it turns out the way I put the fans in with the radiator is totally bogus. Exactly the opposite of what I wanted. It turns out I thought when the fan faces you that it blows toward you. That it's the opposite. It blows toward you when the back faces you. So I'm currently trying to blow air from the top of the case into that's not going to work. I need to have it blow out. So I at least need to change the direction of the fans. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and put them outside of the radiator so that we can see the cool RGB fans that we paid for. So. Now, where did I put those screws? Two new case fans installed in the front. I say new, they're really quite old and dingy, but they'll do for now. And the radiator installed in the top with RGB fans. Before I start hooking up the power supply and start on the cable management though, I do want to go ahead and put in my 4 terabyte drive from my previous PC, a 12 terabyte refurbished drive I got, and the 970 Evo from my previous PC as well.
Later.
Okay, I was wrong. There are little slots that the hard drives sit in that give like an upper and lower floor so that the hard drives aren't like sitting on top of each other. That makes me feel a little bit better. Then some hard disks. Damn, that's like almost 5 pounds it feels like together. Okay, now it's time for the power supply. I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. I have no idea what all this is. Actually, that's not true. I'm pretty sure these are SATA cables to go to the hard drives. Okay, I definitely know exactly where to start.
1 hour later.
So these are all our connections to the motherboard. Oh, they're labeled. Shit, that would have been nice to know. No, it worked. Oh my God, that worked. So I had a bent pin on the motherboard. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, so I just kind of took the connector that it needed to go into, and I took my screwdriver and I just kind of like moved the single pin kind of into place with the screwdriver while trying to put the cable on, and it worked. The cable went on and the pin's in place and nothing seems to be breaking. So fingers crossed that will work. All the fans are plugged in. Got like a fucking tentacle monster going here. It's coming along. I wouldn't say it's coming along nicely, but it's coming along. Okay, I've got power to the motherboard hooked up, mostly. I've got to plug them in still to the power supply, but I've got the CPU hooked up. Now I just think it's a matter of plugging the SATA cables into the hard drives, plugging the VGA cables into the graphics card, organizing all the cables, doing these SATA cables into the hard drives, and then we're done. That sounds like a lot, but it's actually not compared to all this. Now, the problem here is that I think these plug in underneath the graphics card. Oh yeah, they straight up plug in underneath the graphics card. So I'm gonna have to remove the fucking graphics card again. And sure enough, there's our 3 SATA connectors here on the side. Oh, what's crazy is they go in on the side. So I bet if I had looked here, I probably would have seen them. Probably could have snuck these in without having to move the graphics card, but already proven to be a pain in the ass, so maybe not. Oh my God. And just like that, it's a tight fit for these SATA cables, but that's it. They're connected. Okay, now to plug the graphics card back in and actually plug in its cables as well. These little tentacles hidden, and there we go. All right, it's looking pretty nice until we, turn it around. Okay, well now comes the management part of cable management. Oh man, getting this flush is gonna be a challenge. Yeah, I am never fucking opening this back plate. Okay, so this is coming into place. I still don't have the motherboard connectors in. Okay. Getting all these cables to go in is a real treat. Why the fuck do people get extension cables for a lot of these? All right, now are the SATA drives gonna get a shit ton of airflow? Absolutely not. But is this son of a bitch gonna close? Maybe. That's a big maybe at this point. But hey, that's not the worst cable management I've ever seen. Okay, let's get this son of a bitch screwed in, close this bad boy up, and see if it posts.
Eventually.
Now, the unveiling. Ugh. This son of a bitch is heavy now. Here it is. But before we find out if I actually know what I'm doing, I'd like to procrastinate finding out a little bit by sharing with you a word from today's sponsor. It's me, bitches. I'm the sponsor.
I made you something I wish I had when I started my video editing journey. It's called the Editing Essentials Cheat Sheet and Guidebook for DaVinci Resolve. It's filled with over 30 pages of my best practices and most critical things to remember while editing, including a cheat sheet of the most useful hotkeys in the software. It's also formatted so you can keep it open on your phone or your second monitor to reference while you edit. I also bundled 6 drag and drop plugins to make your most common edits simple and easy. Check it out on neontherocks.com, link in the description.
Okay, I told myself I wouldn't be this nervous, but I am. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so we're gonna flip the power switch. Anything happen? I know I've got to actually press the power button on top, but did any lights come on? Okay, no lights came on. I should probably pull this off the screen. Okay, no standby lights or anything. Let's press the power button on top. Okay. I'll be honest, I was expecting a little bit more than that. Really don't even know where to start. I guess I'm gonna have to probably open this bitch back up, make sure all the connections are secure, make sure I didn't miss any power cables, but I guess I'm gonna spend some time troubleshooting and figuring out what's going on.
Day 3.
Okay, we are officially on day 3. I went to bed defeated last night after not getting anything to boot at all, and I don't really know why I did that because I didn't really sleep because I was thinking about the computer the whole time, and I'm running out of black shirts. But I've fiddled with some cables. I've made sure that all the connections were tight. I'm pretty sure the 24-pin cable to the motherboard was not incorrectly. I'm not sure if that would affect the fans and stuff not turning on, but we're gonna give it a shot now and see what happens. I'm also in a little bit of a rush with everything because I'm running out of space on my SD cards to record this because this has been going on for so fucking long. Okay, let's see what happens. We have lights, I see lights. All right, we've got LEDs. Okay, monitor's on. Everything's good to go. Let's press the power button and see what happens. Okay. All the lights turned on. All the fans are running. We've got a temperature reading on the cooler, but we've got a little light here underneath the graphics card that tells us where the boot failed. And it looks like it failed on the RAM. That doesn't really make sense because the RAM is clearly plugged in. So yeah, I'm not sure. Wait, nope, no. The light on the DRAM switched off and the lights on the VGA and boot turned on, and now they've turned off as well. So yeah, not sure what's going on there. As well, the bottom fan is not turning. So it seems like the bottom fan is not plugged in all the way. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. The graphics card is on because it's getting power. I'm not sure what else it could be. All right, well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the camera to save my SD card space, and we're gonna give it another shot.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I did a few things. First, I went ahead and replaced the VGA cable. I'm going to replace the VGA cable. I was using the NVIDIA on-brand adapter that came with the graphics card because the package says to only use this adapter for the 12 volt high power connection, and I was using 3 individual VGA cables with it. Number one of these VGA cables was not plugged into the power supply. That probably has something to do with it, but everything I read online said to instead use the 12 volt high power cable that came with the power supply, which is this one, and it is a single cable that splits into 2 VGAs, and it's rated for 600 watts, which I think the 4080 Super is something like 320 watts, something like that at maximum usage, so I think this is going to be fine. I also saw that the 24 pin on the motherboard still wasn't seated all the way or in a good fashion. So I went ahead and plugged that all the way in. I don't know that that was maybe causing the problem, because if it were, I don't know that the lights would turn on and the fan would and all that. So I don't think that was causing it, but it's not really about the science and testing one thing at a time to figure out what was causing it. Frankly, as long as it boots, I don't give a shit.
One eternity later.
All right, I pretty much redid all the cable management back here. Got things looking just a little bit neater and I'm able to close the back plate a lot easier. So that'll be worth something. And then in front, I made all the changes I mentioned. I moved some cables around, made sure everything was secure. I got the different VGA cable plugged in. And so now I think we're ready to give it another try. Okay, let's flip the switch. Okay, now for the moment of truth. All the lights are coming on. Oh, we have display. Let's go! Did I get that? Did that bottom fan spin? The bottom fan spinning? We're all good. Windows installation, baby! We got it to boot! All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna fucking install Windows and all that shit.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
Okay, now that Windows has installed, I pretty much need an internet connection to do much else, and this baby's Ethernet only, so I've got to go incorporate it into my setup. But while I do that, I'm gonna leave you with some sick cinematic shots.